Welcome to the Coaching Coordinator Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Grabowski, and this is our Quick Cast series. What is a Quick Cast? You already know the Coaching Coordinator Podcast for interviews that touch the many areas of the skill set and mindset that makes a successful coach. In our Quick Cast, we focus on a coach's most powerful insight on a single topic. We pull out the most useful, interesting, and helpful ideas into an episode you can consume in 15 minutes or less. It's our up-tempo version of the podcast. With a library of over 1,000 episodes, we have plenty of these nuggets to share with you to help you improve your own mindset and skill set as a coach. Enjoy. On today's Quick Cast, we talk with Sam Parker, the offensive line coach at Ferris State. In 2018, Ferris State finished as the national runner-up in Division II. In 2019, they were knocked off in the semifinal by the eventual national champion West Florida. Ferris State has had an outstanding program and plays deep into the season every year. Coach Parker shares with us a unique approach to how he teaches his players to watch film, how he gives them a role both in a practice and a game, and some unique use of technology where he meets the players where they're at. In this first segment, Coach Parker talks about how each player in his offensive line unit has a role.
And then within that, everybody in my unit has a role. I've got probably 7 dudes that are starters that need to be ready to play at any time. I've got the next wave of guys that need to play multiple positions and be ready to coach those dudes. And then you got your scout team guys that you need to keep going and make sure that they feel included. So one of the things that we do is we switch our scout team personnel for meetings. So we'll take the defensive line, young guys, once in a while, and they'll take the defensive line. We'll take the offensive guys so they can at least watch their practice and understand what to do better technique-wise. And then dudes that are in that capacity are my eyes and help me coach. Like, to give you an example of what we do to, like, make sure everybody has a role, when during the game, and I got this from Coach Frazier over at Central Michigan, he's the offensive line coach there, I line up my dudes directly next to me on the sideline, and we watch the game together. They watch their position. Something good happens, they say it, and I've got a student assistant that stands next to us and takes down all the notes. So when the series ends, we go over to the bench. Well, now you've got 5 dudes, 6 dudes that were watching each of their positions, talking to the dude that was just on the field while I'm sitting there recapping the notes and able to discuss it with them. So we're working a lot more effectively and a lot smarter. But that's just some of the stuff we do to make sure everybody's got a role and everybody feels good about what we're doing.
After establishing everybody's role, Coach feels it's important to make everybody feel like they're a coach, and this is a great approach to how you get mental reps with your players.
Exactly, and it's not like the kids don't want to do that. Like, there's no kid on our team or program that goes like, oh, I'm not a starter, I don't want to be involved, I'm just along for the ride and being a mopey kid. They're mopey because they don't have a role. Mm-hmm. When you give them a role or a purpose and you're like, hey, dude, you got to be ready to play guard and tackle this week. And, like, you're our next best guy. Or maybe he's not that good. You know what I mean? He's on there for field goal, and that's about the only reason he's traveling on the bus. So now he's a coach. And all my guys have smart minds. And I ask them questions, like, what do you guys think we should be running here? Or what should we do? And it's not like it's, they can say whatever they want, but I'd like to just get their input because it's a good voice and a pulse. And we try to do that even in practice. The way we have practice where I stand 10 yards behind the offensive line, my guys are right there next to me. So play comes up that because somebody out there doesn't know, you got 5 guys looking at you to call it out, to see it. And you know what I mean? So practice, people say if you're not in the drill, visualize what you're doing in the drill. Well, that's easy to say on practice 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but as soon as you get into the game, a game week, you're not concerned about that. So that's what we train for prior to that. So when we do get to the game week, I don't need to coach those kids to watch the play. That's just what they do at practice. They go get their water, they turn around, and then they watch their guy and coach them. Once you get that ingrained and just keep those simple routines like that, that's when development goes through the roof, really.
Coach explains how he expands this into practice and how players stay involved and engaged during the practice by watching it and giving feedback in a certain way.
And that's what I coach before I coach a play. You know what I mean? Like those first 2 days, I'm not coaching the dudes that are out there. You have an MA on the first 2 days. Who cares, man? Spring ball, you have MAs. We might not even be running those plays by the time week 1 hits. So who cares about assignments? Coach what your practice is. That's your base and foundation and fundamentals. And train your guys to have that routine when they're out there. The first indie period we do is the exact same every day. Every day. We do the exact same routine every day. When we go to our Friday walkthrough, they do that same routine. And it's just stance and start and whatever else you have in it, maybe a little bit of stretching. But when it comes to kickoff and game time and we break off into our corners, that's the exact same routine they do before games. So it's a mental repetition and rhythm to their bodies so that, they're triggering in and they're snapping in every time they do that. So the intensity of a game is dialed down and the intensity of practice is picked up because they're into that. There's no lull and confusion with it. It's just a 5 to 10 minute period that we do, and that's what I coach. That's what I coach is that, because eventually I'm over there just telling them the practice schedule and getting ready for my ending period. And that those little things in practice is really what's helped us. It really contributed us practicing for 16 weeks.
Because they play deep into the playoffs every year, they have extra opportunities to get better. And it's something that Coach Parker wants to be sure they're taking advantage of so that their guys develop and are ready to play in the following seasons.
That's the thing I tell recruits, and I tell these kids, I go, other places will tell you, like, you come here, you'll get this nice weight room, you come here and you get this and that. It's like, you come here, you're going to get another spring ball. You're going to get another 5 weeks of practice and being able to put pads on. Legally, no other team in the country except for Valdosta can say that this year. That you're getting, you know what I mean? That you're able to work on your craft like that. So where it's helped us is dudes this year that were on the team with us in 2016, and we had that long extended practice run. And then next year we made it into the third round of the playoffs. Well, those dudes have, between those 2 years, that's a full set of spring ball, 2 spring balls they've added to their yearly workout and everything like that. And from that class this year, we had 5 of those dudes from that class from 2016, 2017. So this is their third year. 5 of those dudes, 4 of them started games for us this year, out of necessity or whatever else it might have been. So their development is just off the charts. Mm-hmm. And the dudes that did it this year that had extended spring ball in 2017, 2 of them were in contention to start and had significant playing time. So it's a huge advantage for our development. And you got to use it right, because it's really easy to do, to tell a kid, like, hey, don't bother coming to practice, just focus on your grades so you're eligible. So you can't really waste those. It's huge for your development, huge.
Coach explains how a long trip and a quick turnaround in the playoffs forced him to look for better answers and to work efficiently, and in this case, meet his players where they were. So instead of worrying about being in their video system, he found a unique way to use a platform that all his players are on and their smartphones. This is a good example of thinking outside the box to get your team better.
So our last week of the year was week 11 against William Jewell. It was like a 13-hour bus ride, okay? Well, the day that we come back, we always do our banquet. And then that Sunday they tell us who we're playing for the playoffs. And that week it was Harding. So it was nonstop, right? Our dude's coming off the bus, going into the banquet, then we're going to play Harding. And Harding was a really, really good football team. True triple option, inside veer team, flex bone, give us a lot of challenges. So you're sitting there and you're like going, okay, so now you have to decide, is it more important to have meetings or is it more important for our guys to get rest and sleep and, get back on their normal sleep cycle? So we thought it was more important with that. So we canceled some morning meetings that week. So it forced me to, kind of go, okay, well, what do I need? What information do I need to get these guys? So just would go on my computer, take out my camera, or I would really use Snapchat. Snapchat's great because you can make the notes and highlight, and it's friendly because everybody uses it. So I just take my Snapchat, record a video, add a couple notes and lines and stuff like that, and then I would just put it into our text group for the offensive line. And I started doing it, and I'm going, gosh, I'm getting like more concise and clear information to these guys and showing them what pass rush moves this guy is really good at, and they're able to download it and keep it on their phones. And the guys liked it because they didn't have to sit in meetings, obviously, and be up early, but they liked having it on their, like being able to download the video on their phone. So we kept that through the playoffs, and the guys really responded well, and I really don't want to do anything else. So how we use video is the most archaic way of filming it and then sending it to them that way, and just being engaged with them and not. I think the biggest thing that slows us down is somebody saying you have to use your video software to communicate with your players. Mm-hmm. Okay, so whether you've got DV Sport or you've got Huddle or whatever, and then go looking at the kid and being like, hey, I shared that playlist with you. Did you watch the playlist? Oh, you didn't look? Oh, why not? Oh, you didn't have a computer. Oh, you don't have the login. Oh, do you have this login? There's so many channels that these kids have that are just no good. Just get your, just record it off your phone. The quality is good. It's 2019. You know what I mean? The quality is better than anything anybody could ever imagine. Make your notes on the video and send it to the kid directly. And then you have a dialogue with him and a conversation about it, and it's right away. It's boom, cut out the malarkey. So that's just kind of what we did that was really effective, and I won't do anything else. And don't be afraid to either be creative or be cheap or unprofessional, as somebody would call it. I'm sure if I told a video coordinator for Power 5 that I just record it off my phone, I send it to the guys, they'll be looking at me like, what? No, I can do it really fast. They watch, but that's how I roll, man.
Thanks again for listening to the Coaching Coordinator Podcast. Please check out our new home for the podcast at coachingcoordinator.com. And coming soon, we have Coach and Coordinator Monthly, a free digital magazine designed to capture all the things that just don't work as well in an audio format. So extra content from the podcast, articles developed from some of the ideas that are shared here that will be up on our website soon, coachandcoordinator.com, and follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski.